Hey there, guys and gals. It's your old pal Paul. It's contest time here at GeekPod. Want to win a 4-pack of free 5-Wits tickets? Of course you do. All you have to do is go to iTunes and leave a 5-star review on the GeekPod page. Not only will we read it on the air, but we will pick the best one and reward them with free 5-Wits tickets. And now, back to a brand new GeekPod podcast. My name is Paul, and I'm a comic book geek.
My name is Hugh, and I'm an all-purpose geek.
My name is Corbs, and I'm a sports geek.
My name is Jack. I'm a history geek.
This is GeekPod. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of GeekPod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
And I'm Corbs.
Welcome back, guys. So, let's address it. We teased it on the Fist of Khonshu already. Typically, when we start off something like this, it's because I'm under the weather and I'm going to spend the entire episode hacking and coughing. But, Dr. Hugh, take it away.
I had 4 teeth pulled this morning. We recorded the Fist of Khonshu while I still could not feel half of my face. I can feel that half of my face now. So, if I am not on the very top of my game, please give me credit for showing up today.
And if that wasn't enough, Corbs.
Yeah, I've been sick since Tuesday night. Wednesday morning I woke up throwing up, and I have been pretty much hacking up a lung since Wednesday afternoon. So, if all of a sudden you hear people coughing, it's just the fact that we decided to record today while everybody is under the weather. Hugh's the main, he's the big one, because I know how that feels. I've had 3 teeth pulled, and you sit
four teeth,
but I've had 3 on my own pulled, and you sitting here recording right now, I give you mad props, because when the Novocaine wore off on mine, I couldn't look at anybody.
What did I text you yesterday?
Do I need to go back and see what it said?
I texted you,
Oh.
Art is pain.
Art is pain, that's right.
Sounded emo.
Sounded ridiculously emo. I had to get a good chuckle out of that. So now that we've gone around the table and talking about how we're either the walking wounded or sick and dying, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I feel great. I don't know what's wrong with you pussies. So anyway.
Sit a little closer to Corbs.
Right,
Take care of that.
Gentlemen, what's got you geeked?
Well, I am excited because the X-Files is coming back. I know you've watched the X-Files, Corbs.
I've seen some of it. My dad was a big X-Files fan, so I did catch some of it.
Okay. Very excited. Fox announced this week, for real this time, not just, hey, we're talking about it. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson are signed on to reprise their roles as Fox Mulder and Dana Scully for a 6-episode limited series. Chris Carter is, I assume, writing and, of course, executive producing, and they're getting the gang back together. Has me very excited. I think it's been, it'll give them a better chance to do something good than the movies did, because the movies always had to worry about the casual viewer. They still have to a degree, but people coming to watch this are going, oh, the X-Files is back. I don't know if we're going to call this Season 10. I don't know if it's going to eclipse what they've done in the comic book version for Season 10, which hasn't been going for that long. But it's I'm excited. It'd be great to have the X-Files back on. And you know, I know that they said that they had trouble getting those two together because of their busy careers. Now, I know Gillian Anderson has one show, and I guess she's a regular on Hannibal, it's a show that, you know, doesn't run all year. But what has David Duchovny been doing? I mean, Californication is over.
That's the one. Last thing I've seen him in was Californication.
So I just, you know, was it really that hard to get them together? I mean,
Californication ran for, I think it was an HBO or Showtime thing. But I mean, that went for a couple of years, maybe 5-6 years. So I mean, you can see where that would lead to a little bit of an issue. But I mean, it's been off the air for what, 15 years, maybe 10 years.
The X-Files, I think 20.
Yeah. So,
Jesus, has it been 20
I
years?
think they celebrated their 50. It's 15 or 20.
Yeah. But
Wow.
like you said, it's really been that hard to get them back together
Yeah.
over the entire course of.
Especially with a limited run, 6 episodes. But you know what I'm hoping for? I'm hoping that it leads to the door being open for there being this to be something regular. Like we're probably going to see Kiefer Sutherland back in another 24, miniseries. Because Fox is realizing that, hey, we don't have to run these things into the ground. We don't have to just end them. We can come back to that well every couple of years and people are interested again. I'd love to see multiple things like this with the X-Files. And if they bring back, like Doggett and Reyes, those two agents that kind of came in there near the end when, David Duchovny wasn't always on the show, I really liked them.
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick.
And then the girl was Annabeth Gish.
That's right. And I thought I really liked them a lot. I understood that, hey, this was, Dana or Scully and Mulder's show, but they were well-developed characters. And I went back a couple years ago and I rewatched the entire 9 seasons, and again, really enjoyed those last seasons with those two. I liked the characters, wouldn't mind seeing them back. If they can pick up the slack while the two main stars are out doing whatever they're doing, I wouldn't mind seeing more than just 6 episodes.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be interesting.
Me too, actually.
Corbs.
What's got me geeked is opening day, baseball.
Getting ready.
I'm getting ready. It's there. It's here. So
Yeah, it's less than a week away as of
yeah,
this recording.
it's, first game is it's 8 days next Sunday, I think.
Oh, I thought it said 6 days on Friday. My bad.
So yeah, that's what's got me geeked. I'm stoked for baseball to start and the weather to not be so shitty.
Right. We're still looking at probably the first few games at Fenway Park having snow covered.
So that's what's got me geeked. I'm not going to go into a huge thing like you just did about the X-Files.
You have a problem with my huge thing? You wouldn't be the first.
All right. Well, can't believe we're there already.
Right. It's got to be a new record.
So yeah, so Major League Baseball, baseball's starting up. That's my. I can't wait. It's supposed to be a good year for the White Sox. Here's hoping, but everybody's kind of reloaded. So, minus the Red Sox.
Yeah. Don't even get me started.
So that's it.
Outstanding. And what's got me geeked?
I got to stop you for a second. I feel kind of left out. Hugh's got notes. You got notes, and I'm sitting here with my finger in my ass.
That's
Yeah,
because
you can have a notebook.
Sweet.
these are our own personal notes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put a notebook in front of me, so now I feel kind of important.
All right.
So anyway, what's got me geeked is Corbs has a notebook. No, I'm just kidding. Mallrats 2.
I saw that.
Kevin Smith announced he is making a Mallrats 2. The movie no one wanted a sequel to. Those are his words. Well, I gotta let him know. I wanted a sequel to it. I love Mallrats. Mallrats was actually the gateway for me into the View-esque universe. That's what got me started. Then I went back and saw Clerks, which apparently, if you go by his chronological order, I watched them correctly, so fuck y'all. Mallrats takes place one day before Clerks.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either, and I watched them in the correct order then too.
So, they've already confirmed, and Kevin Smith is doing this over his social media, confirming returning stars as it's happening.
Jason Lee was just announced, right?
Jason Lee's been announced. Obviously, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are coming back.
Nice.
Ethan Suplee, who played Willem, who couldn't see
the sailboat.
the sailboat, the schooner.
When do I get to see the sailboat?
Ethan Suplee is coming back. Shannon Doherty is coming back. T.S. Quint himself, Jeremy London, was the last one, unless there has been a new announcement today that I haven't seen, is coming back. And Michael Rooker has agreed to come back, which kind of almost means that they have to get the girl back to play the daughter there.
Claire Forlani.
Forlani. If he's coming back,
Yeah.
they've got to have the daughter come back at some point. But, big one. Stan Lee is confirmed to come back for Mallrats 2. So, we are working our way towards getting the entire cast back.
this is interesting because he's making Clerks 3 too.
Yes, he is.
This is all after he said he was done making movies.
Yes, and then Tusk changed all of that. He got the bug again when he decided he was making the Walrus movie, and made him want to make all sorts of
I bet his
movies
wife is
again.
thrilled.
Well, she should be. It's more cash rolling in,
Yeah.
as long as these don't have the same track record as Tusk did.
Yeah, but you gotta think, I mean, Mallrats, I mean, it didn't do that great in the theaters, but man, it's definitely got a huge cult following. All of his movies do. They,
Yes.
it's not something that make a lot of money at the theater, but once they hit,
Home video.
or whatever, it blows up for them. So
I have yet to see Tusk.
I own it, and I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah, I keep meaning to. The last movie of his I saw was Red Stain, which was
I have not watched that either. I got it for Christmas.
so good.
That's what I heard.
You wouldn't even think it was a Kevin Smith movie.
See, my problem is with having the two toddlers running around, it makes it hard to just throw those movies in. So
Yeah.
I have to schedule time. Or perhaps we should do a Geek Pod night somewhere, and maybe we'll do screenings of films. That way I can get around to actually watching these and have a reason to do it. I'd say, let us know, if that would be cool, if that's something you guys want to do. But anytime we fucking ask you guys to fucking respond, we got nothing. So prove to us there's an audience out there.
So yeah, I was just thinking, are we just going to divvy up those tickets to ourselves?
I guess we're gonna win. We were just gonna go do the giveaway ourselves. But now I guess we're referencing. We might as well tell them about the contest we're running.
yeah, seriously, you don't need a fucking dark over here.
Well, it went out on last week's podcast. You wouldn't know.
All right.
And it's on the Facebook feed. You wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah. Ironically, I'm part of this team, and I don't even go on your Facebook page. So bad is that?
So what are we talking about? We are talking about 5 Wits giving us a 4-pack of tickets to give away.
Fucking A.
Now, we're not asking an awful lot.
Just to respond?
We are asking people to go to iTunes,
Okay.
leave us a 5-star review, make your review entertaining.
Alright.
You can taunt us, you can tell us how bad we suck, as long as you give us 5 stars. That's the important part. You can tell us we suck, you can tell us how great we are. Be funny, be entertaining, be thought-provoking. We're going to pick our favorite one out of all of the reviews that come in, and they are going to be awarded the 4-pack of tickets.
And I think you need to state that we plan on reading, well, probably all of these on air.
And, well, yeah, I'm depending. I mean, if we get
A lot.
a metric ton,
I'd be happy to read
I would
those
be
on air.
thrilled.
That's fine.
Okay, and then Hugh is going to do his own spin-off podcast of him just reading the reviews. That would be fantastic. But no, yes, anyone that's going to take the time to write us a review, I'll be happy to read it on the air and attribute it to whoever it was.
Alright. Sounds good.
All right. Now, anyone listening to this has already heard about it anyway, because this is going to be tacked on to the beginning of the episode as well. So,
Alright.
on to new business.
Is it time for the news?
Let's get into the news.
All right, let's get into the news. First of all, don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it. Just got to throw it out there because it's my personal favorite. The new run of Doctor Who turned 10 this week. Actually, I believe it was this past Wednesday. Makes it a little complicated because it's either 10 years old or 52 years old, depending on how you count. But regardless, it's been 10 years since Doctor Who came back. Happy birthday, Doctor Who. Feel like we just celebrated the 50th anniversary 2 years ago, but whatever. Beyond that, big news that came out this week. AMC has finally given us the name of the Walking Dead spin-off. This spin-off is going to be set in LA. It has already been picked up for 2 seasons, a 6-episode beginning season, and then who knows what the second season is going to be next year. Going to be debuting late summer, and it is, are you guys ready for this? Fear the Walking Dead.
Kind of anticlimactic there.
Yeah. I almost think they were sitting around in the writer's room going, we have to brand it as Walking Dead. We don't know what to do. Fuck it. I'm going to watch it. I'm probably
yeah.
going to love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm guessing since it's, coming from the same people, it's going to be fantastic. The name is... is it lazy, or did they really just rack their brains and go, there's no way, nothing we can come up with to connect this? You know, it's not like Romero. He had his Night of, you know. I mean, it's easy for him to come up with names for his, you know, sequel movies, you know. Cheesecake of the Walking Dead or whatever. You know,
Right.
you've got it in there. The Walking Dead just doesn't have... There's no real way to add on to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to go like CSI style and go Walking Dead Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well... Yeah, who knows if it's going to stay there, though. They've already said that one of the characters from this first season is going to meet up with the survivors of the regular show next season.
Really?
Yes, so I don't
I
know
hadn't
if this
heard that.
is... Yeah, they have said that, and they haven't said which one, but somebody is going to be... There's going to be some cross-show stuff. The new show starts at the beginning, like even before the apocalypse.
Yeah, I heard that. Yep.
And I'm guessing that it's going to primarily stay behind. Maybe we'll see a character go off on their own and then they show up in Georgia or something. I don't know. I don't think they're actually going to be running concurrently, at least not at first. But there is room for, you know, hey, if Morgan survives this year, maybe he'll show up there. You know, who knows? Well, they are separated by the entire country, so they've got to be a little realistic about how they do that and how
Right.
often they
And
do
how
that.
quickly they can make it out to see them. That's true.
Any thoughts on that, Corbs?
I actually saw that yesterday too, that they come up with the name for the spin-off, and I was kind of saying like you, I was like, really? You couldn't come up with anything better? I mean, they were talking about there were a few other names out there. It was Coda was one of them, something like that. I mean, but
Cobalt.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I think that was just what they were calling it while they were doing the preliminary stuff. Because a lot of these production companies, what they'll do is if they have stuff for a series and they want to keep it under wraps, excuse me, they will actually give it a code name. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, when Doctor Who was coming back, everything related to Doctor Who was actually called Torchwood, which eventually became a
Became a
spin-off
thing,
of the
yeah.
show. But they wanted to make sure people didn't know that they were making it, so all the stuff, all the scripts, everything, Torchwood, which interestingly enough is an anagram of Doctor Who. So I think it was kind of what they were starting to do, but then they came out and they kind of said that. So we all knew anything related to Cobalt was Fear the Walking Dead. So clearly the U.S. does not do this whole, you know, secret spy TV show stuff as well as Britain does.
Right.
But if James Bond is protecting your television secrets, you're probably going to do a better job anyway.
True.
Beyond that, we also saw the first look at the Deadpool costume. And I know, Paul, you talked to me about this earlier. Please, tell me what you think.
The costume is perfect.
It is perfect. It's CGI, though.
Whoa.
It's got to be. I mean, look at the eyes.
Well, that's true.
And I did read some people looked at it closely, and they said that they really think the whole thing is CGI. And, you know, I actually don't have a problem with that. I liked the Green Lantern costume in Green Lantern. Yeah, I thought the CGI worked. I didn't think there was anything weird about it. I mean, there were other things about that movie that were
Right.
weird. And I kind of figured if they're going to do his eyes properly, those have to be CG, because those white eye holes are how Deadpool emotes, and emotes very well. And you can see that in the picture. What I felt bad about is if this whole thing is CGI. One of the biggest reasons this movie's getting made is because Ryan Reynolds has been trying for years to get it made, and he
He has
doesn't
been
even
waving
get
the
to put
flag.
on.
Yeah.
He doesn't even get to put on the costume.
They
feel
have
awful.
to have a physical costume, though, because the first picture that he posted was of him standing there with the mask. So there is at least a physical costume.
Yeah, I just feel bad for the guy because he doesn't get to run around and jump and swing swords. Probably not dressed all up like Deadpool. He's
Right.
going to be in, like, you know, a blue suit or a
Yeah,
green suit.
yeah. Yep.
But I mean, it was great. I mean, like, if that's what it's going to look like in the movie, it looks awesome. You know. And beyond that, the last thing I have on the news this week, and sorry, this is all TV related, but we all came with some. We're supposed to have some comic recommendations this week, so figured I'd go over to the other side. Nerdist has reported that CBS is currently looking at making a new Star Trek TV show. Now, what's interesting about this is a couple years back, there were two pitches for a Star Trek TV show because it had been a while since Star Trek had been on the air. And one of them kind of recast the original crew and, you know, kind of almost like a reboot. The other one, which was brought to the table by Bryan Singer and a couple other big names in Hollywood, was basically the idea 100 years in the future, the Federation has kind of gotten fat and lazy. They kind of run things. You see where the Klingon and the Ferengi and all the other alien races kind of evolved to. Everybody's happy and comfortable. And then some new threat comes along and knocks everyone on their asses.
Interesting.
And they have to build a new superpowered enterprise, you know, something basically to combat this because they weren't prepared for it. Now, they decided they weren't going to do the TV show because J.J. Abrams was making the movies. They wanted to focus on that. And of course, going back to the original series, kind of took the first one off the table. They're coming back to it now, and they are going to concentrate on getting Trek 3 out first. But I guess the plan is, from the rumor, is that they are really looking at this second option, and it has been brought back to the table. Bryan Singer's name is still attached to it. He is really big on this. He really wants to get this made. And I mean, it's 10 years since Enterprise, went out there.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's set in the original timeline, which will make a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I personally feel like it's been too long since Star Trek's been on the air.
I'd be down for it. I like the concept if they're going with it, where it's where everybody's evolved and we're moving on, and that's where we gotta look back in. I mean, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's probably something that I would add to my ridiculously large list of television programs.
I think the one thing about this is it makes it safe, because Paramount doesn't want to hurt their movie franchise. Now, I really don't think that the current movie franchise is going to move beyond 3. As much as I have enjoyed the movies, I think that they've made a couple mistakes. People are going to come back in 60 years, and The Wrath of Khan is still going to be a fucking awesome movie. And people who are into this kind of stuff are still going to watch that movie. 60 years from now, nobody's going to come back and go, Into Darkness was a fucking awesome movie. It's a classic. It's just not going to happen. And it seems like the new stars, they kind of, after 3 movies, they probably want to do their own things. They can pretty much write their own ticket. This is not a franchise that is going to endure like the original one did. It's a shame that it has supplanted the original one, because now you can't really ever go back to anything. And, of course, everybody's dead now, just
Right.
about. But it kind of limited their options. So by doing this, Federation idea TV show, far enough into the future, where whether it's set in the original or the new timeline or whatever, has no effect. They could still make movies as long as they can sign people on for them. But the two things don't have to be dependent on each other. So I think it's a smart move. And maybe, who knows, Captain Picard could get stuck in a transporter accident and get sent to the future.
Interesting.
But no, I think it's a smart move, because they don't want to damage either franchise.
It makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. And it's like you're saying, it's the perfect solution for it.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? I mean, are we going to be going back, and are people going to be saying, I think William Shatner was the best Kirk. I think Chris Pine was the best Kirk. The movies just don't feel the
I
same.
don't think you're going to hear anyone say that Chris Pine was the best
And
Kirk.
I thought he was good.
He's
but-
cool. He could have been named any other character, though, and he'd still be
Yeah.
the same cool factor that he's got going on. There's nothing in him that screams Kirk to me. I mean, he doesn't even talk like this.
Oh, come on. That's so old. I don't feel there's anything in those movies that will make them endure, though.
I agree.
I agree.
Corbs is
yeah.
like, what's a Star Trek?
No, I've seen Star Trek. Actually, I've seen all the original Star Treks, 1 through 5 or whatever. And you're right. Hands down, Khan is the best one.
Actually, my favorite was The Undiscovered Country, and everybody thinks I'm nuts for that.
So, to each their own.
It was the one where they were put on trial by the Klingons, and they had to go beam them right off whatever that moon is, Kronos, because I was Kirk and McCoy were on trial. You recall that?
I don't.
Christopher Plummer was in the movie, and in the beginning, some Klingon chancellor is killed while on board a ship. They frame Kirk and McCoy. Anyway, a lot of people don't look at it as being one of the best in the franchise. To me, it felt like the one that was most like an episode of the old series. Whereas Wrath of Khan, Voyage Home, great movies, big epic set pieces. The Undiscovered Country felt like the old television series to me.
Nice.
Anyway, that kind of went sideways and crazy into The Undiscovered Country. Why don't we get back on track? What do you have up for us, Paul?
Well, you probably heard Seth Rogen is spearheading a television adaptation of the comic book series Preacher.
That should be your what the fuck file right there.
Well, that's because we tagged in Seth Rogen into that.
Just that he's the one doing this.
Yeah.
When I first saw this, my reaction was, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm okay with him being a player behind the scenes, as long as we don't find out a month down the road that he's Jesse Custer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that all of a sudden all bets are off if they go that route. But no, news is coming fast and furious on casting for this now. It first came out that Tulip has been cast, who is the female lead. And you might have to help me out here. I've actually never read Preacher.
I have. It's been a long time.
But female lead, Tulip, is going to be played by Ruth Negga. You may know her as Reyna from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay.
She's the... How do I want to even say this so that people don't call us racist? The darker-skinned girl with the curly hair.
Very pretty.
Very pretty. Who worked for the bad guys.
Worked for Hydra. I don't even know if Corbs is watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, you could have told us that
Yeah.
before.
I wanted to see how long you'd go with it.
Oh, you just wanted to see me make a racial faux pas?
That brown-skinned girl.
Well, I never know what to say because, my wife is half black, and her half of her family, her father was very, very dark. Her mother is very, very white. Leads to a very interesting family dynamic. I never know what's okay to say. Like in my day-to-day life, dealing with people and stuff like that, I don't generally even have to worry about that or refer to color. But whenever it does come up, I feel weird because I'm afraid I'm going to use whatever was the accepted word last time I checked. I guess we're not as allowed to say African American, or wait.
I don't know.
Is that still... I'm just confused. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never been politically correct, so...
Well, yeah. But, the thing is, I've always worried about it because growing up, my parents adopted African American kids, disabled kids, from the inner city, So right from the beginning, growing up in Oswego County, where everybody's a racist, backwoods country, I had black brothers and sisters. So it's always been a topic for me because I didn't grow up seeing color as an
issue. Yeah.
Not an issue, but everybody I knew, it was an issue.
Which is insane.
Yeah, so it's always been a really weird place for me, and I never know how to speak to it, I guess. I get flustered. Because it's like, afraid, you say the wrong thing, somebody, gets... A good example, I'm sorry, this is off topic. Let's not forget we're talking about preaching.
I'm putting a pin in it. We'll come back to it.
Years ago, I did some college courses over the summer, and part of the whole thing that they had us do was we had our courses in the morning and afternoon. We also had to go and do activity time, gym time, and I loved to play basketball at that point. And there was this one black kid, big guy, who they always put up against me. He was always guarding me, and I'm not all that graceful. And whenever I thought I fouled him, I would say I'm sorry, and it'd be like when you're always covering somebody, you're always slamming into them, whatever, always saying sorry. After about a week, he goes, "Why are you always saying you're sorry to me? Is it because I'm black?" And I'm like, I didn't even say I'm sorry, black kid. I said I'm sorry. That never even occurred to me, but it occurred to him just because I was white, and that one instance has always made me so cautious. Because it's not about what my intentions are, it's how somebody takes
Perception.
it. Yeah. And they don't look at me and go, yeah, that kid's got, black brothers and sisters, a black wife, and, I'm like, Avery, she's mixed as well. So they don't see that.
Right.
They just see some white guy who said something that made them upset. Right. And then they pull out a gun and shoot me.
Okay. We're extrapolating that a little bit too far.
I'm just saying, it always makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
That's what this is all about, getting that crazy stuff out, right?
That's right. That's why these mics are here. Otherwise, it's just sitting around drinking.
All right.
So anyway, they've also cast, as I understand it, the main character's good buddy and hard-drinking vampire friend,
Yes.
Cassidy. He's being played by British actor Joseph Gilgun. For those who don't know who he is, like me, he recently starred in This Is England, and he's going to have a role in Vin Diesel's upcoming movie, The Last Witch Hunter. Don't know who he is. Don't really know who many of the people in this show are, who they're going to be.
I didn't realize Vin Diesel made anything other than Fast and Furious movies.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. I'm rude.
And they've also cast Ian Collette to play Eugene Root. If we don't know who Eugene Root is, you might know him by his more colorful name in the series, Arseface.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Ian Collette is on Fox's Rake. Has anyone seen Rake?
I think I read an article about it, or I saw an article about it and didn't read it.
Okay. I've never heard of the show before I did this research, but he plays a character on there called Finn Dean. For any of you Rake fans, Rake with a K, not with a P.
Yeah.
So we're clear. But I guess this is going to be another AMC TV series, if that makes a difference to anybody else. That's probably also going to end up on the Sunday night lineup with Walking Dead and.
You know what's great about that is, I know my wife is all upset because Walking Dead is ending, and she looks forward to our Sunday night ritual a lot. I mean, because Sunday nights is popcorn night. That's when we have popcorn every week.
Nice.
And we had it last night because I knew I wouldn't be able to eat it today. Or tomorrow. But, I told her, well, hey, with Walking Dead, the companion series, if it ends up being a full series, after this first short one, that's 16 Walking Deads, if we can get 16 of the companion series. I know The Strain isn't on AMC, but that kind of takes the place of The Walking Dead when it's on. The Preacher. I mean, it'd be nice for there always to be something on Sunday nights that we're looking forward to. Game of Thrones as well. Because when we have that gaping hole in our lineup where there's nothing to watch live, because those are shows we always watch live, she gets very sad, and I don't like it when my wife is sad.
No, we don't want our wives sad. Exes, they can be sad.
All right.
I dare say that, Corbs, you're kind of sleeping on the mic over there. Wiggs would be very disappointed in you.
Wiggs.
So moving on.
Have you spoken to him at all?
I have not. And you're the second person that's asked me that today.
Who was the first?
They're not here, so it doesn't matter.
Oh. Just wondering, is he still alive?
Well, I think. I hope
If
so.
he's out there, maybe give us a phone call once in a while. Let us know that you're,
Last time I spoke to him was on Christmas. He called and wished me a Merry Christmas.
Isn't his wife pregnant again?
Probably. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
Should we have him come back after the Walking Dead season finale?
And wrap up.
Yeah.
See, now we've got him all choked up.
Aw, don't be sad, Corbs. We'll see Wiggs someday.
Probably in The Walking Dead.
I'd also like to touch on
Don't touch.
the CW's The Flash. I said it that way on purpose because I don't want people misconstruing that I want to touch The Flash.
Don't touch the Flash.
You would, though.
No, he's not my type. No, the girl that was playing Linda Park, I would touch her.
Yeah.
Are you guys caught up on The Flash? If you say no, I'm going to throw this bottle of water at you.
I just haven't seen this week's episode. You know why I haven't seen this week's episode? Because I was catching up on Arrow, because I was 3 episodes behind, and I know they're doing
They're working towards it again, yes.
Yeah, so I have to be caught up on both. So I did not watch this week's episode. Something major happened?
Yeah, it was a big episode. It was a very, very big
we
episode.
already know that Harrison Wells is...
Douchebag?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the Reverse Flash, so I don't see what bigger could have happened.
Did you watch this past week's episode, Corbs?
I'm caught up on everything, man.
Okay, so you know...
Trust me, I was out of work
that's
on
true.
Wednesday.
So he's caught up on everything. Even shows he wasn't watching.
See, even if I was out of work, I don't get to do that, because my days off, I do things with the family. If I happen to be home on a day where I wasn't supposed to be home, I'd be watching the
There's
baby,
more things,
and
yeah.
It's Disney all day. And at that point, by the time she goes down for a nap, I'm ready for one too.
That's right. Then it's nap time for you as
Just-
well.
I
Go
remember those days, so.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and talk about it.
No, we don't have to touch on too much. I mean,
Stop
some of the
touching
stuff
me.
I want to talk about is has been in the previews anyway.
Oh, okay.
With the Trickster coming next
The
week,
Trickster.
and the return from the '90s Flash show. They're gonna have the original Trickster back, Mark Hamill.
Yep.
Cannot wait for this.
Yes, I believe we have talked about this.
I cannot wait. Actually, I got to watch the preview for it though.
Oh, so that's
it was
got
the
you.
stinger in it, so
more
that
stuff.
made it awesome.
Yeah, I actually did see that. I've seen that preview.
It's going to be very, very cool.
Yeah.
And just the fact that it looks like they're really bringing the rogues together. And it's not going to give too much away, but that was blatantly thrown out for us in this last episode. Where Cold goes, the rogues.
Yeah, yep. Okay, yeah.
The episode was called Rogues something, wasn't it?
Was this one Rogue something, or was this Out of Time, or was Out of Time last week?
I think Out of Time was last week.
Oh, that might have been, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, wait, I'm 2 episodes behind that. Crap. I haven't seen the second half of the whole time.
That's the only one you're behind on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right?
because this one was he went
Where, the wrap up
was,
from that.
Yeah, because the one
Okay,
with the tidal wave and he was running back and forth and then all
Yeah,
of a sudden,
you know, when I saw that episode and then that happened at the end, I'm like, oh, because that's how they're going to fix it because, Cisco died and everything.
Yeah.
I'm assuming by the end of the episode, everybody's still alive, but there's some new wrinkle.
There's a few new wrinkles.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting the way it was done. And we'll do this. We'll keep it spoiler free for the most part. But found out my wife, not a fan of time travel. Oh, she was pissed throughout the entire episode.
Really? Why?
Because there's major changes on this episode that
Yeah.
kind of undoes
everything from the
from the previous.
like him and Iris and
Yes.
all that.
yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that at first, I was like, "What? No, they're not. They're not."
That's
gonna,
what I
it's
said.
not gonna be that
Already?
easy." And then when Cisco died, and then I knew it. Here's the thing, though. Lots of genre TV shows have done this type of show. I'll give props to The Flash. I didn't see it coming until the end, and then I realized that they were using that whole go back in time, and like you could do major things to the characters and then reset it all before the end. I don't think I've seen it like that before.
No, and the
clever.
way it's done throughout the episode that you haven't gotten to watch yet, it's reinforced over and over that you do not fuck with time. Because it will fuck with you.
Flashpoint.
I think that's where we're heading. I really do.
Is it just me, or does it feel like it's like about 4 or 5 years too early to go down that road?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think what we're going to see, though, is we're going to see an amalgam of Crisis and Flashpoint at the same time. I think all of this is going to happen together.
That's interesting.
And I have read rumors online. I'm being very careful about how I'm saying this because I remember slapping somebody's patties for reading ahead at rumors and
Yeah,
told them to knock it off.
but I was
that-
right,
Yeah, sort of.
kind of. All right, sorry.
They're saying that with this whole time travel thing coming, he may end up in the Smallville universe for an episode or two.
What?
They're saying Tom Welling may be doing an appearance as Superman.
That would be fucking awesome.
I cannot wait for this episode to happen.
Oh,
if it
and man, I
happens.
would love to see the old Oliver Queen as much as I love the new Oliver Queen.
I didn't even think about that.
Justin Hartley was. I mean, I thought he was great.
He was great as Oliver Queen. Did you ever watch Smallville?
That's a negative, sir.
How are you on this show?
Beats the fucking
Because
hell
you
out of
decided to put the word sports at the end of all the other stuff we talked about.
Right.
me. True. I have no idea how I'm here.
He's not even sure how he got here today.
Why am I invited back?
I don't even think about that show very often, but yeah, there was a lot of great stuff there. Even though a lot of comic book fans talked horrible stuff about it. But
I loved Smallville.
so did I. And that Lois Lane, Erica Durant, ridiculously gorgeous. In fact, I remember her from House of the Dead, the movie House of the Dead,
Nice.
where she comes out of the water topless.
Never saw that. Think I might have to go find that movie though.
Never seen it either. I know it's out there.
But no, I thought she was Lois Lane's a tough character to crack because she has to be plucky, she has to be strong, she has to also be able to get into a predicament she can't get out of. I mean, that's got to be a tough character to write. And if you look at some of the other actresses who have played her, they've kind of had one side or the other. I think she did a good job. So yeah, all the other aspects I enjoyed too. Like I don't remember who played Chloe, but she was always great.
Allison something.
Yeah, it was Allison something. I missed the show. You know what's funny is I stopped watching it for a couple years because I'm like, this is just stupid. Nothing ever happens. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stick it through. Went back, rewatched them. The last 2 seasons I absolutely loved. It kind of redeemed all the slogging through getting there. Other thing of note, I think, first time I ever saw Sam Witwer, who has become one of my favorite actors. Also in the
Doomsday, yeah.
He was Doomsday. He was in the premiere of The Walking Dead. He was on Sci-Fi's Being Human. He was the voice of, I believe, Starkiller in the Force Awakens series. You're looking at me funny, like Walking Dead?
He was in the premiere. Was he the soldier in
He was the soldier. And one of Frank Darabont's plans was to go back and do like a little web series.
With him.
Showing how the soldier got there. But of course, they fired him, so it never happened.
He was the one in the tank.
He was the one in the tank. That was Sam
Son of a
Witwer.
bitch. Okay, I'm with you now.
But yeah, he's great. Did you ever watch Being Human?
No. I've heard good things, but I never saw it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so sticking with the DC heroes, we got our first look at Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor for the Batman vs Superman movie.
Ooh. Unhinged. Have you seen this, Corbs?
No.
All right. Talk, Paul. I'm going to look it up.
All right, I actually have it right here.
Oh.
I saved the picture. I will bring it up, and you can look at it on the laptop, as long as I don't crash the recording while I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's much easier than the photograph on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't look like a happy guy.
He does not. I'll tell you, I'm impressed with the intensity there. I mean, I'm still a little nebulous on his casting, but I feel a little better after seeing that. But man, should I really feel better because the guy shaved his head?
Right, and look.
Yeah, I notice also he's not symmetrical. His chin kind of goes off to the left side. Look at it. Take a look. Yeah, seriously, I bet that they probably it's highlighted there. I've never noticed it in anything else he's done. I bet they highlighted that.
Okay, yeah, I guess
what
I
I mean?
can see it. Yep.
It's slight, but it adds just a cragginess and a creepiness to the face.
Yeah. And is it just me, or does he look like he's wearing prison garb?
I couldn't stop looking at the head and the chin. I didn't get to the prison garb.
That's just what it looks like to me. It looks like he's got the overalls on. Okay. So, a good portion of what else I have on my list here is not newsworthy. It's comic book stuff.
Okay.
So we'll save that for later on.
Well, I do have one game-related thing before we get into the whole comic thing. I picked up this week Lego Marvel Superheroes on Android. Now, if anybody's familiar with Lego games, you ever play the Lego games?
My kid has them all.
Okay. Man, you say that like you hate Legos.
You ever step on them in the middle of the night?
Yes, we're talking about video games.
These are virtual versions of them. You can't
You ever
step
step on a virtual version of a Lego in the middle of the night?
No, I can't say that I have.
Still hurts.
But
Yeah, no, my kid has Batman 1 and 2, Indiana Jones.
They made an Indiana Jones Lego?
Yeah, 2.
That's awesome.
Lego Marvel Superheroes. Two more.
Well, as I understand it, this is a port of, I guess, the 3DS game. I guess it's not the full Xbox 360 game. I wouldn't know. I've never played it. But it's like 45 levels. It's got all the hallmarks of a Lego game. You have to 10 objectives in every level along with beating it. I've played around just the first couple levels. It is really cool. I mean, I used to play the Lego games like the Lego Star Wars on my Xbox years ago. And it really brings that back. I mean, it feels like a full console release on my phone. And not every game, even games that are good don't feel like that. This does.
Nice.
It's just like, playing a Lego game on my Xbox. So if anybody is interested, I'm not too far into the game, so I can't say too much about it. The controls are a little wonky. They got a traditional scheme where you have a joystick and buttons on the screen, or touch screen where you touch where you want to go and tap on the things you want to attack, and I just can't make my mind work around that. Interestingly enough, my 3-year-old, who is growing up with this technology, immediately goes to touching the screen where he has to go and tapping on stuff. She immediately gets it.
That sounds like my kid.
Yeah. So that's something we'll end up having to talk about some other time. It looks like a good game. I think people should check it out. It's $4.99, which is a lot less than you pay for the 3DS version.
Yeah.
Right.
And it does seem to be a direct port, so check it out, folks. I think it's going to be worth it.
Outstanding. Corbs,
He left.
what have you seen about the Bachelor Executioner?
All the thing I've seen is there's some casting that's been going on. Kate Seagal is going to be in it. She's going to have a big part, and I have to assume that anything he does, she's going to be a part of it. But I mean, that's understandable. She's a great actress. I mean, she was fantastic in The Sons. He's going to be in it. Son is going to be in it. He's going to be Ironically, he's going to be a mute. He's not going to speak at all. Kind of like Otto was towards the end of The Sons. A couple other actors, more British actors this time, because it's going to be it's going to be his period piece based in England and stuff like that. But does have one Sun alum in it, Tim Murphy, who played Galen. He's going to be in it, so that should be pretty cool. I haven't heard when it's supposed to come out. They're talking about midsummer or maybe fall premiere for it. So once I find some more out about it, I'll let you know.
They're filming now, right?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Wales?
Yep. So.
Sorry, I thought you were raising your hand. I thought you
I was itching my head. That's what just stopped the podcast. So
right. Screeched everything to a halt.
Can I ask you guys something about this?
No.
Okay.
Move on. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
What has Kurt Sutter done other than Sons of Anarchy?
He was a co-writer for The Shield with Michael Chiklis.
Okay.
He was an actor in that too. He played a hitman in that. He was only in about 4 episodes for that one, but that's where he got his start. He started out co-writing and then ended up towards the end he was a co-executive producer and stuff. And I mean, The Shield ran 7 years. Was a fantastic show. They gave him the green light to do The Sons, and he's pretty much since then he has talked about doing some movies. Directing. He wants to direct the remake of Enter the Dragon.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out for a while. He's got another movie coming out. The other one he's got is called Southpaw. It's with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a boxing movie that he wrote, and I think he's directing that one too. It should be coming out soon.
You know, I have to wonder, and this is not me saying something negative about someone who's clearly one of your favorite TV writers. I don't mean it in that way at all. But I have to wonder, because of all the build-up for him doing a new show, do we know for a fact that the reason Sons of Anarchy was so great is because he is so awesome? Or could a lot of it have been the perfect cast, the perfect timing, a lot of other things come together? Because if you look at successful show creators, they'll make an awesome show. They'll go on. They'll build up the hype for the next show, and it lasts a season.
Right.
You know, I mean, look at Chris Carter. He hasn't really done anything of note since the X-Files. Even though he's tried a couple things. Same thing with the creators of Lost. I think they've had a couple. They did the one Alcatraz. Wasn't that from one of those guys? Or was from one of the big? I'm pretty sure it was from one of the big creators, either Lost or Heroes. We see a lot of that because names become brands now. J.J. Abrams became a brand from things on TV.
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, Joss Whedon. And even Joss. I mean, Firefly's great, but commercial success. He only really had Buffy until he got to the Avengers.
And Dollhouse
wasn't really successful.
It was a fantastic show, but it, like you said, it lasted a season and a half. I think. Yeah. I don't even think they finished the second season.
So, you know a lot more about the Sutter gentleman than I do.
Right.
Do you believe that enough of that is him that he can actually go on to anything and make it successful?
I don't know if it's if it's the writing that was successful, or like you said, it was like just the perfect cast in the whole roundabout way. I guess the telling tale will be how well this show does, because if he had where with The Shield, it was it was him and a couple other people that were doing the writing. It wasn't just him. With Sons, it was just him. Like he was the main writer for the whole show. He wrote the episodes. He directed a lot of he actually directed most of the season and the series finale, stuff like that. So I guess time will tell. I mean, his next show. I mean, if it comes out and it bombs right away, then maybe there's something to be said.
I'm not trying to prepare you for disappointment. I was really just curious because you loved Sons so much. I kind of figured you know as much about Sons as I do about Doctor Who.
Right.
So I was curious because I don't know if I'll go back and watch Sons after hearing so much about it, but I might be willing to check out something else he does.
Ironically, I went over to my buddy's house a couple weeks ago, and he was watching Netflix, and guess what he was watching?
Sons?
Yeah, he just started it. And I was one of the guys, like, when I first got you to start watching it, he's like, no, I don't really get into stuff like that. I don't know. And then I went over there and he's like, yeah, I've watched the first 2.5 seasons. And I've only been watching it a week. So it's something where when you start watching it, you get into it. But I also know people who've watched it and get to certain points and like, I can't watch it anymore. Like his wife was watching it with him, and then she got to the point where in season 2, beginning in the first episode of season 2 at the end. You know what I'm talking about?
With Gemma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't watch it after that.
Yeah, that was rough to watch.
Right. You know, even after I told her, so that's about as worse. That's the worst it gets. I mean, there's not really a lot worse than that. That was probably the well, I don't know. There was a couple of spots, but that was probably, I'd say that was probably like top 3 where you watch it and you're like, okay, this is, you know why this is on at this time. There's a reason. So, but to get back to your point, I mean, if Bachelor Hughes comes out, it falls flat on its face. Then yeah, then he's gonna have to be, you know, there'll be some doubts until he can come up with something new besides that.
Well, the good news is, if the past is any indicator of this, he'll get about 2 more shows to try before they'll stop giving him money.
Right, and he's got this one, and then he already has the green light for the prequel to Sons, but that's going to be a couple years down the road. It's not going to be something that's done in the next year and a half.
You know, if he does turn out to be, this does turn out to be a lot of him. Considering I've heard so much about Kurt Sutter, I'd love to see him try his hand at something genre-based.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting. I'd like to see his take on it.
Yeah, because he's got that warped mind. You know, he's not your typical writer director. He's very shy, which is kind of weird. Looking at his character, he's got tattoos. He's got both arms covered in sleeves. He's an odd guy, but I wouldn't, if I knew he was going to be somewhere close within a couple hours, I would probably take the drive and go and meet him just to express my admiration of what he did for that show. Because that, like you said, dude. All right, if you asked me, maybe I would.
There are other ways to say thank you, Paul.
But like you said, there's shows that you watch religiously. You know, every Sunday night at 9:00 you watch Walking Dead. I'm the same way. But I can tell you right now, every Tuesday night for 7 years, when Sons was on, Paul, tell you, I turn my phone off. My kid's in bed, and I know nobody's going to bother me, and I watch it. There's times when I watch it and then go back and rewatch it right after. That's how much I enjoyed the show. So I'm hoping his new show is that good. So
he's also hoping that it's on Tuesday nights.
Yeah. No, I got the Flash now.
There you go.
That's a jump.
Yeah, the Flash and
Sons
are not the same thing.
But I was thinking about this. I mean, I watch, what? I don't know, 3 shows on Monday, 3 shows on Tuesday. I don't know. It's fucking crazy.
I have so many shows. What am I laughing at? Look to your left once in a while. Let's see.
Would you like me to explain?
Please
to the
do.
audience? Okay.
I don't think I can do it justice.
So, none of you know me that well, but I am a former smoker, and this September it will be 3 years since I got my first electronic cigarette and started vaping. Now, I don't want to get into the talk about, it's just as bad or whatever. I've done my research. I've looked at the actual science, not the science paid for by tobacco companies or anything like that. And I do believe it is a much healthier alternative regardless to smoking. So I am a vapor. I have a rather large, it's an iTaste VTR, big tank of a thing, and we're sitting here and I generally vape while we're doing the podcast. Since I got my teeth pulled today, I am desperately scared of dry socket because my wife got dry socket once and she told me that they took her out of work for a week and they had her on codeine and stuff, and I'm really scared because I've already been in pain with my teeth. I don't want that. So I was going through the internet and I was looking for what does vaping cause dry socket, because I didn't know if maybe it wasn't quite the same as with smoking, because I don't really have to pull on this like you do a cigarette. It creates the vapor and I can just breathe over it and it'll come into my mouth. Somebody suggested vaping up your nose. So I've been sitting here while we're doing the podcast, rather than putting the little drip tip of this into my mouth, I've been putting it into my nose. And every time I do that, Paul starts laughing because it's got to be a very odd thing to see. Now, granted, this is a little weird, and I discovered this, 10 minutes before we started recording?
Yeah.
But just trying to not make myself hurt. Corbs, you can't...
No, I know what you're talking about, because like I told you before, I had 3 teeth pulled, and the one thing to say is, if you smoke, you have to stop, because it will cause dry socket, and it's very painful. I mean, I never got it because obviously I don't smoke, for that. So I mean, I understand where you're coming from because I've had teeth pulled, and I know what they tell you not to get into and all that stuff. So,
Well, the worst part is first of all, if anybody can just stop smoking for 3 days, I mean, you might as well just keep going.
right.
The other part of that, they want you to stop when you're in severe pain and taking narcotics, which generally makes people want to, smoke more if they're a smoker. I'm sitting here and, I mean, right now I'm in a shitload of pain, but this is kind of like people, it's a stress reliever. It's almost like pain management. If I wasn't able to do this even through my nose or whatever, I would be sitting here thinking more about the pain. It's kind of a way to focus on something else.
Right.
Not that I'm saying people should pick up vaping. I mean, if you don't have an addiction to nicotine, don't ever start. But,
There you go.
Yeah.
That's our PSA for this episode.
yeah, but if you do have an addiction to nicotine and you're not vaping, please save your family a lot of, grief and heartache, because chances of getting cancer are far less with something that doesn't have thousands of horrible chemicals in it. Anyway, PSA. Sorry, we had to explain why Paul was laughing. That was the whole point.
Paul always laughs. That's the thing.
Well, that's the idea.
We're doing a better job though when we go off on those tangents today, bringing it back around smoothly.
Right,
Better than
look
we
at that.
normally
We're getting better. Must be all the feedback we're getting from our audience.
Oh yeah, I mean I take notes on the stuff they send us.
Yeah,
Look.
same with Corbs' notebook. Look at that.
Oh, hold on, I have to actually take the writing off this. There's my notes. Do you think people are going to get mad because we keep getting pissed off and calling out the fact nobody's responding to us?
Maybe,
No.
but maybe if they get pissed, they'll probably say something. It's like, hey, stop asking us to
Right, maybe we'll start getting hate mail again.
do something.
Oh my God, does that mean Badge Doc is our biggest fan?
I think, well, no. Because
He's the most. He's the fan that's written in the most.
Yes. But we do get messages on Facebook all the time from...
You see that? I get those alerts or notifications or whatever the hell they are.
Yes. So,
Anyway, where were we?
we just
In Paul's
wrapped up
basement. I keep telling you that.
the Lex Luthor and Flash discussions. So, do we have anything... Oh, no, we wrapped up. I'm sorry. I completely just blanked on a 15-minute conversation we had about Kurt Sutter.
Right.
Yeah.
there you go.
So, what
Sorry,
else
Kurt.
do we have to move into?
Anybody?
To talk Walking Dead.
Well, we definitely need to talk Walking
Yeah,
Dead.
sure. Okay.
Well, I don't know if you mean you said you got comic books. I mean, you guys talk comic books. I'm gonna take a nap.
Right. Lay
No,
on the couch.
no joke. I'm really on the couch going to sleep. No, it's cool. That's what you guys are into. I mean,
Put some geek and geek pod.
right, and I enjoy coming and you guys talk about the stuff and
You get to take a nap, and
yeah, I get some sleep in and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
when it's time to talk about Sons of Anarchy.
That's why he talks Sons first. He can get out of the way and
All
then
right,
take his
before
nap.
we get into The Walking Dead, then, do you want to just do the comic thing? You wanted me to bring a comic recommendation this week.
Just because, I mean, we talk a lot of obtuse comic stuff. And what spurred this for me was I just read Ant-Man #3. And god damn is that a great book.
Really?
Loving Ant-Man.
Come a long way from hanging out in Tony Stark's playhouse?
No, and that's part of the charm of it. I mean, granted, this Jesus Christ, here we go again. This issue, I mean, they didn't touch upon that at all. The whole issue is about him starting his security business. He's doing independent security now. He's hired on an old 80s villain as his lackey for it. The Grizzly?
Nothing. I got nothing.
Giant guy in a bear suit.
Oh,
Literally.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
He was
So-
neighbors with Conqueror Lord, wasn't he?
probably.
All right.
There's a Fist of Khonshu reference for you. But the whole thing is, this is supposed to be his first contract. And he's working to get it all set up. And he's using all of his ants to try and assemble security equipment. And there's a running commentary about it going, yes, are we going to address the overlords? and he's running commentary about how, they're not very good at assembling stuff. All they're really good at is grouping and being ants. And he's talking to them like they're talking back to him and stuff. And it's really entertaining. And then you find out from him that the company that hired him for security is a paperclip warehouse. Yes. That's what they do. They sell paperclips. There's thousands and thousands of boxes of paperclips. And come to find out, it was all a ruse set up by Taskmaster. He was hired to keep him busy.
Oh.
So that's the whole main story. It's a big fight between him and Taskmaster. And Scott Lang is under the impression that Taskmaster is his arch enemy. And Taskmaster says, I barely remember fighting you. And he was like, come on, we had those pitch battles where it was me and Spider-Man against you and me and whoever else. And he was like, I was there to fight those guys. You just happened to be there. So like I said, this is a whole different thing for me, not anything like my normal cosmic stuff I read or batshit crazy Moon Knight. So, I mean, and if somebody this isn't my thing, this cheeky, kind of light-hearted comic book humor thing isn't typically my thing. And if it can attract my attention, I think everybody else needs to go out and give this a shot. That's my GeekPod approved recommendation.
Okay. It sounds interesting. Maybe I'll have to grab the issues from you. I'm more interested in it now than I was when you first talked about it. I believe I had some comments about Ant-Man and why.
He's still Ant-Man, but
well, if they're accepting that and they're using that as a story element, then it has my interest a little more than I'm supposed to suspend disbelief and believe he's a badass hero.
Right.
My recommendation this week is an offshoot of something I read regularly, and you're not going to be familiar with it, I'm sure. Did you recall how I said I like the series Crossed?
Yes, you've told me about Crossed before.
Okay. Crossed is a series where basically it's, I guess you'd call it post-apocalyptic, though the stories go back and forth between right when this was happening to, far after it was happening. But the main series currently is called Crossed Badlands, and that's not what I'm recommending, though. But the whole idea with Crossed is there's this disease, and you can be infected by any bodily fluid, or anything that comes out of somebody's body gets on you. You've got about 30, 40 seconds before a rash starts appearing on your face in the shape of a cross, and you basically turn into complete id. You lose all sense of humanity and the ability to figure out right from wrong. Down to people go from being normal people to ripping someone's head off and then fucking the hole. I mean, seriously, like all sorts of nasty, depraved shit. I know that sounded like a horrible thing to say, but
that literally happened. Didn't you tell me there was one scene of a nun with a spinal column?
Probably.
I didn't finish telling what it happened with.
Oh, I don't even. Yeah, I mean, they're just really. I mean, it would be if there wasn't all the gore and the horror. I mean, you'd probably think it was explicit. Sometimes. I'm not saying that's all the comic is, but they use that imagery to show you just how horrible the Crossed are. It's not like the whole comic is that. But you need to understand that this is not your normal enemy. It's not a zombie. This is something that will, if they don't turn you while messing with you, they're going to fuck whatever's left over. It's basest human needs, or eat whatever's left over. It's horrible. Anyway, what I'm recommending is an offshoot series. It is a 6-issue limited series, which is currently in issue 3, called Crossed Plus 100. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's written by Alan Moore.
Ooh.
Alan Moore. Now, the creator of Crossed, Garth Ennis, said finding out that Alan Moore wanted to write an offshoot for his series is kind of like finding out Jimi Hendrix wants to play in your band. He was blown away, because for the uninitiated, Corbs, Alan Moore is, what's a good figure in sports to compare Alan Moore to? Only person I can think of is Pete Rose, but that's just because he was on wrestling for a time. I don't know sports very well. Joe Montana? Maybe?
He's a superstar.
Like the biggest guy, like one of the best ever. And he's probably done his biggest work. Now he's very careful about the projects he picks.
Okay.
He wrote the movie The Watchmen. Are you familiar with Watchmen?
I'm familiar with it. I've not seen it.
Okay, well, he wrote the comic that was based on, which is one of the biggest, series ever done. Anyway, Alan Moore's big shit. And every once in a while he'll write something. He doesn't do a lot these days, it doesn't seem. But for him to go to an indie, sort of indie comic book, and go, hey, I want to write for your series,
You say yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like Joe Montana showing up at your son's football game and saying, "Hey, I'd like to coach." You know, you're just like, yeah, pretty much. So, the idea behind Cross Plus 100 is it's set 100 years in the future, which is, they've never gone that far, but it's important to understand that the original miniseries that set up Cross, there were several of them, all kind of happened in order from the apocalypse. The current series, which is on issue, I think, 50-something, is there'll be a 3-issue story that happened at the beginning, or a 3-issue story, or 6-issue story that happened a year later, or whatever. They're moving around. It's not a concurrent set of events. Cross Plus 100 happens 100 years in the future. And what's interesting about it is mankind has bounced back a little bit. There are still Crossed out there. But what really grabbed me about this is you go to read this, and you're going to read the first couple lines, and you're going to think it's gibberish, or you're going to think it's a badly translated from another language. What they've done is they've said, okay, society breaks down. There's no longer people teaching people things like English or whatever. Language is going to change. Words are going to get mixed around. People are going to put verbs and stuff in the wrong places, but language will become something different 100 years from now under constant threat of death or infection or whatever, on the run in small little societies. Now, and it's hard for me to, without it right in front of me, to really tell you how cool this is, but they will refer to sculling things, which is how they say think, and they use like if something is really secure or really certain, they use the phrase "fuck tight." A lot of things that would have been swear words are considered regular words,
Normal,
and maybe they moved in because of how the Crossed are so vile and vulgar. So it's interesting. You start reading the way that people talk, and at first it seems like complete gibberish, because it really does. It's not just replacing one word with another. It's almost like they've created a whole side language to English, but once you stop and go, oh, okay, it makes sense. And like Alan Moore must have actually sat down and decided, this is what English would evolve to 100 years from now into this world. And it has its own rules that they always follow. And if, like I said, if you weren't reading it, knowing this, you'd be completely lost and you'd think it was badly translated.
Right.
It's actually coherent. By the end of every issue, I start every issue having to get my mind to work that way again. By the end of every issue, I'm all set, and it all reads normally. I just think that's really cool, and I've never seen anybody attempt to do something on that level before. I just talked a whole lot about language. I'm sorry, that was super boring. But it's something I've never seen. The series is certainly interesting. I think people should check it out, but don't start in the middle. It's only 6 issues. Pick up the first issue, even if you don't know anything about Cross, and be prepared to think, because you're going to have to think your way through this until your mind understands the way the language works. Because it's everything from the little boxes telling the settings to the people talking.
Nice.
There's no normal stuff in here. The whole thing is written the way they talk in that future.
That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And how has that not been turned into a movie yet or a TV show?
Well, I think that one of the problems with Crossed is that it goes too far over that edge.
That's true,
this
too.
couldn't be AMC. I don't even know if it could be done on HBO, because it really is it goes that far. I don't even think you can tastefully do it on film. But if you're gonna do it, I don't see how you could clean it up and have it mean the same thing.
Gotcha.
It is supposed to be completely stripped of humanity, just the basis needs, like a 5-year-old in an adult's body doing whatever they want with no consequences. I don't think that you could do it justice on TV. Not that it's some big magnum opus. I just mean, in what it is, I just don't think it would work.
Right. You would have to strip away too many of the elements.
Yeah. I don't even know if I would want to watch that on TV. I mean, I'm not squeamish, and I think that it would be too much.
Damn.
Yeah, I really think it would be too much. I would not want to see that on film. It would probably get I can tell you, it would get an X rating.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
Well,
All right.
on that note,
Seriously.
so I saw, Corbs, you posted something on Facebook. Because now they're discussing, and we're going to bring it back around to the sports geek for you.
I already know what you're talking about.
You do? Or you don't?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Then do you want to take the ball and run with it from here? I'll take that as a no.
I'm dying over here.
And I actually thought of it because Hugh referenced Pete Rose. He's back in the sports world news right now.
He is. And I was talking to my dad about this morning because my dad came to my son's basketball game, which was his last game, and my son played Magic Johnson today at basketball. I did more today at basketball than he did in the first, well,
The entire
ever,
season.
ever. And that included, the practices. He dribbled the ball today. The kids looked to pass him the ball. He almost made a basket today, which for my son, I mean, the basket part was in warm-ups, but he's never even come close to hitting the net, let alone the backboard or the rim. And he's 7. It's his first organized sports ever. So I wasn't hoping for it. I wasn't going into it thinking, oh, he's going to be the next Michael Jordan. It was just something to get him out, play with some kids his own age, and get into some organized sports. For him to hit the underside of the rim today,
That's huge for him.
that's huge. I was so happy. Him dribbling the ball when the kid's passing the ball, and he picked it up and started dribbling it. That was great. Kids passing the ball. He caught the ball a couple of times when the kids throw, because he's kind of still afraid of the ball, which is, we've been working on it. But kids threw the ball, and he'd catch it, and it would fall, and he'd pick it up, and he'd pass it to somebody else. So he was really involved in it today, which made everything, even made the last 3-4 months worth it for him. So, but to go back to what you were talking about, I posted on Facebook.
A few days back.
No.
Maybe a week ago.
It was probably a week ago. I was sitting at work or something like that. I was on my lunch break, and I was on Yahoo, and I read an article where they're talking about reinstating Pete Rose into baseball. Excuse me. And I'm all for that. I really am. I have to admit, Pete Rose bet on baseball, and you don't bet on as a Major League Baseball player, coach, manager, owner, whatever. You don't bet on baseball. Period. That's the one rule. You can't bet on baseball. You can bet on football games because he did that. I mean, I met Pete Rose at a card show one Sunday afternoon when I was in high school. I went to a card show in Rochester, and he was signing autographs. And don't get me wrong, he's the nicest guy in the world. Shook your hand, asked you how you were, where you're from, stuff like that. But after each autograph he signed, he would look at the TV. He had a little black and white TV set on the chair behind him, and he had the Bengals game on. And somebody asked him, so what's the game you're watching? Oh, it's Cincinnati and somebody. So, oh, you got some money on that game? And he said, yeah. So betting on other sports is okay, but betting on baseball is wrong. And he got caught betting on baseball games. He bet on games that he managed in and didn't manage well. They lost, stuff like that. So he got suspended for life from baseball for that reason. It's been 30 years. I mean, anybody who knows baseball, Pete Rose is the hit leader. He's got over 4,400 hits. He's, the greatest hitter of all times. And for him not to be in the Hall of Fame is a travesty. But you understand why he's not there. He got caught doing something he shouldn't have, and he's taken his lumps right along the way. I think he would have been better off if he'd just come out at first and said, I did it. I bet on games I shouldn't have. I'll take my lumps and be with it. And whatever you guys decide is fine. But he, for 10 or 15 years, he adamantly denied ever doing it. I didn't do this. You guys, this is something that never happened. And then all of a sudden one day he was like, all right, I did it. So they're like, after 30 years, they're talking about reinstating him now and getting him in the Hall of Fame, which I'm all for. Excuse me. He deserves to be there. Like I said, he's the greatest hitter of all times. Like my dad was saying, my dad and I were talking. He every year 200 hits, no doubt about it. There's no denying he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. My whole thing is, and I know Paul will attest to this, my favorite baseball player is Shoeless Joe Jackson. Now we're talking about back in, the 1920s. That's actually when he got suspended was 1920. 21, he was suspended for basically doing the same thing that they got caught. Him and 7 other players got caught betting on the World Series in 1919. But they never were able to prove that Joe Jackson actually did anything to undermine the World Series. He hit 375, home run, no errors in any of the games, anything like that. And the one problem with Joe Jackson was he was illiterate, and nothing against him, but wasn't smart at all. He could do one thing, and he could do one thing well. He could play baseball. Couldn't read, couldn't write, and they took advantage of him because of that. And guys that were part of the fix said he was never a part of it. They just they kept throwing his name in there to get some clout with the gamblers, saying, "Hey, we've got this guy with us," but he was never attended any of the meetings, anything like that. But he, being illiterate, the prosecution took advantage of him and told him that he did this and that he needed to confess to it, and he did. So, I've always been a proponent that if you let Pete Rose back in the game, you've got to consider Joe Jackson being reinstated also. We're talking 1920 was when he was kicked out of baseball. It's now 2015, and he still is the third greatest hitter of all time. You're talking 95 years later. He still has the third highest average ever. He was even Babe Ruth said that he copied his baseball swing after Joe Jackson's. So even the greatest baseball player ever, hands down, people say, copied the swing that Joe Jackson had. So my thing is if you consider Pete Rose, you've got to consider reinstating Joe Jackson. Just because, it's been long enough, and he deserved to take his place with the greatest of all times also. And I said this to my father, but if they ever do reinstate Joe Jackson and elect him to the Hall of Fame, I'll be the first person in the crowd there, because that's my idol. I've always admired him, So, I'm hoping that if they do elect they do reinstate Pete Rose, that they take a look at reinstating Joe Jackson and some of the other guys too. There was a couple other guys that were involved in it that need to be in the Hall of Fame too. Buck Weaver's one of them. He was a pretty good player at the time, and then Eddie Cicotte, the pitcher. Cicotte's gonna be a little harder because he actually confessed and he actually took money, but none of the other guys ever got money or anything like that. So, I'm just hoping that if they do let Pete Rose, if they reinstate him, that they strongly consider letting Joe Jackson in.
I don't understand, as long as you don't bet on a game you're in, why it should matter.
There's the sticky situation with the White Sox because they were in the World Series, right?
Well, yeah, and I kind of know where he was going with it. Obviously, betting on a game that you're involved in, you can affect the outcome.
Yes.
Either the player or the manager. As opposed to if you're betting on, say, it's the Cincinnati Reds and the Mets, and you're betting on the Yankees and the Orioles, you have no clout in that game over that. I just think it's more of a thing where it's frowned upon. It's not really. I don't know if it's a written rule that you can't do it. But I think it's just one of those things where it's like you don't bet on the sport that you're in.
I mean, I can understand that, but did Pete Rose actually bet on games he was involved in?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he when he was managing, not when he was playing, but when he was managing with the Reds, he was betting on games that he was managing and was not managing correctly and losing games to win money.
Oh.
See, that's a big no-no. That I see their point.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be looking. If they're letting him into the Hall of Fame, they're not letting him in as a Hall of Fame manager.
Right.
They're going off of his accomplishments as a player.
Because it's two different things. As a player, he deserves to be there. As a manager, no, because that's where I can understand the disconnect. But you can't do both. You got to do it's Pete Rose. You can't have Pete Rose the player and Pete Rose the manager, because there are guys that are in the Hall of Fame for being a manager and being a player. So,
well, if they do let him in, then we're going to know exactly how many times you have to get your ass kicked by Kane before you paid your dues.
it's true.
And for another thing there, I don't know why this is even a question. I mean, he's already in one Hall of Fame. How many does he need to be in?
Pete Rose?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He was abducted. He was abducted.
He was abducted.
He was inducted into the World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Fame.
Yes, he was. So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
like I said.
That's
I mean,
so funny.
yeah.
Well, what's funny is there's even a World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Fame at all.
Yeah, but that's the weird part is they have like a celebrity wing and a wrestler's wing. You do know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you.
Why do you think that's weird that they have a Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I mean,
Shouldn't it just be the Oscars? It's the same thing.
Yeah, but that's not
Like
fair.
being the best, the most popular actor.
The thing is, Oscars are never going to consider anything like that. Nobody else is going to consider it worthy of an award. That's why they have to do it themselves.
Understand.
And I think it's legitimate to a degree. I mean, you look at some of those guys who have been doing it for that long, and especially the older ones, you know, the Ric Flairs and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they deserve a little honor.
They need a
and
nod.
yeah.
You know, I mean, trust me, they all probably would have lived a lot longer if they hadn't been wrestling.
Right.
Sure.
They gave a lot to the sport.
No, don't get me wrong. I was saying it being facetious. I don't have a problem with them having their inductions or anything, which are probably coming up today or tomorrow anyway, aren't they?
Where's WrestleMania's what?
WrestleMania's tomorrow night.
So it's
So
probably
tonight.
yeah.
Tonight.
So, no, I was just being facetious because I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but I think they do deserve it. They
do.
They should actually have an actual like brick and mortar place for it too. I don't think they do. I
don't
think
know
it's
if they
just
do.
they roll it out once a year and do their inductions, and that's about
Yeah, I
it.
think it's kind of a.
Well, you look at what happened this past week, and I don't know if you read about this, and I don't know the guy's name. I just saw the article, but a wrestler down in Mexico was in a tag team match against Rey Mysterio and some other guy. And it wasn't even the wrestling move that got him. He got thrown against the ropes, and the rope snapped, hit him in the neck, did something, messed up his trachea. The guy died.
Yeah,
I saw that
You
too.
know,
scary
and-
stuff.
And yeah, I mean, they really are. You know, regardless of whether it's staged and the outcomes are known. I mean, it's
Right.
still
Yeah, but
physical.
there's-
You know, so
They
is
still have to do
ballet.
it. Yes.
Right.
You know, it's and all those other, you know, that really intense dancing and things like that. You know, those people, nobody looks at them and go, oh, well, you already know what the moves you're going to do are.
Right.
You know, you already know when the show's going to end. They're still putting their body through a lot, and I think they deserve to be recognized.
No, even with wrestlers, I mean, guys get hurt all the time. I mean, there's what the hell's his name? Went by Puke.
John Dofsky.
Yeah, he was
John
he paralyzed, neck down
Darren. Yeah.
during a wrestling match. I mean, guys get hurt. There was a guy in Japan. I can't remember the guy's name, but he went to do a move off of the second rope, a springboard moonsault type of thing, and he slipped on the rope and he landed, you know, on his back, but his head was on the mat, and he broke his neck in the ring, paralyzed from the neck down. So it does happen. So for these guys to go out there and put their body on the line every night, and you know, you're talking. I think with the WWE, they're on the road like 300 days a year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's not something where, you know, they're out there for a couple of days and then they're not. No, they're out there all the time. And when they're not out there, they're in the gym. They're working with trainers and perfecting moves and working on moves and stuff like that. So it's not just a couple night a week thing. It's a career. So
respect the wrestlers, folks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Says the guy who's trying to get a press pass with the WWE. You should show them a little more respect. Maybe they listen to this and like, yeah, that guy Paul, he's a douchebag.
I've never said otherwise. I am a douche.
You are a douche. Lord.
Yeah, they're the elder gods again.
They have spoken. On that note, let's keep moving it along. Everyone's familiar with the Ninja Turtles, right?
Yes.
What are the Ninja Turtles?
How many Ninja Turtles are there, Corbs?
73.
How many Ninja Turtles are there, Corbs?
45.
I'm going to ask you one more time, and then I'm going to go get my baseball bat.
I don't have a baseball bat.
I do. It's about this big.
Does it have a pen at the end?
It actually does.
There's 4.
No, there isn't.
No, I've watched the movies. There's 4.
I've
watched all of the movies.
As of issue
Including-
44 of the comic book,
Oh, Jesus.
there are 3.
Who reads the comic books on Ninja Turtles? I know I don't. I watch the movies. I wait for the movies to come out.
The comics were first. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
that.
without the
Yeah, I know,
comics,
but
there wouldn't be the
but
movies.
On the same token, so were the books. But you wait for the movie to come out to do your book report.
And that is how you do not pass high school and college.
So, Ninja Turtles issue 44 that came out last week by IDW. They have done what most people figured you couldn't do. They have killed off Donatello. I'm going to slide the laptop around for Corbs to get a look.
Whoa.
Donatello is dead.
I see that.
Ish. Because, of course, it's a
Multiverse.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And there's the act as it's happening. Rocksteady and Bebop, the Shredder's mutants,
Yeah.
that we probably all do remember from the 80s cartoon, killed him with a sledgehammer. They Triple H'd him. Basically.
Back to wrestling.
Yeah.
It's not wrestling, it's Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
Alright.
Now,
Kill him with sledgehammer.
yes, they wrapped up their current story arc called Attack on Technodrome. Donatello seemingly killed in a battle with Bebop and Rocksteady, while the other turtles are assaulting Krang's Technodrome. It's, as you can see here, it's implied. They don't really show a lot of it. Have you seen this, Hugh?
I have, yes.
It's implied, but it's pretty damn brutal. I mean, with the commentary from the mutants.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was pretty nasty. And yeah, he definitely appears to be dead, especially with their reactions at the end. And the fact that the comic book is ending in like 6 issues, that tells me that this could be the real deal, or it could definitely just be the hype machine for the end of the series.
Or the new movie.
Oh, they're making the new movie. We know that's coming. They've
Yeah, it
already
was
announced
announced.
it.
No, it started filming this week?
Yeah.
It was announced to start, yeah.
Something like that,
And
Wow, Donatello's dead.
Donatello is dead, and our good buddy.
My son will at least still be happy, because he's a Raph fan. Sorry.
Silver lining.
You're right, not that he's not that happy that his throat died.
The look out in his face. Oh, man. Folks, I wish you could have seen that.
I did reach out to our good buddy Salotero, because he's a huge Ninja Turtles fan, for his reaction on it. And he said he's bummed because it's his favorite turtle. But he does seem to think it's a publicity stunt, and Donatello's going to be back before the series ends. So,
Comic book, I think that's kind of the
yeah, that's how things work.
yeah. From what you guys have been talking, I mean, it could be just a different universe or something like that. And
Well, Turtles is different. It's its own. I mean, they've done several different versions, comic runs, but they've never done them concurrently. It's not like Spider-Man might meet Spider-Man from another dimension. Turtles has just been Turtles. That's
Right.
it. Yeah, do you know if all the previous runs they've done are all connected, or do they kind of start
I
over every time?
don't know. Maybe Sal can get back to us after this episode hits and let us know.
Because I remember the old black and white ones, but that was, I mean, I was a kid back then, so, I mean, clearly there have been, if they are all connected, it's one chronology, then I'm impressed. If it's not, then I'm just kind of confused why the same creators keep rebooting their own thing.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, we definitely know it's not the original creators still working on this.
Oh, it isn't? I thought it was
I
still
know one of them.
Laird and Eastman.
Eastman and Laird were the originals.
Oh, I
And
thought it was still them. I'm sorry.
It's one of them. I know
Oh.
one of the two has sold off his claim to it.
And I guess we need to do a little more research. Or we
Yeah.
all need laptops.
Yeah. I'm not
that'd
footing
be
the
kind
bill.
of what?
I'm not footing the bill for more laptops.
Come on now, cheap bastard.
Oh, and here we go.
Yeah, poor guy. You gonna make it? No.
That's a loaded question right there. If I'm gonna make it or not.
So,
So what?
I know you've seen it. Bad Girl 41. That's coming after
Yes.
Did you
Convergence.
say Batgirl or Bad Girl?
It did sound
Girl.
kind of like Bad Girl on
Yeah,
the
it's-
Corbs on this one.
I was like,
Bat Girl.
is that a different
I
comic
thought
book?
maybe it was wishful thinking or something.
It's Bad Girls. I like Bad Girls. Now, there was going to be a variant cover as part of this whole 75 years of the Joker thing. They're all going to be Joker-themed variant covers for all the books coming out that month. The one for Batgirl has been pulled. this is the cover that was going to be, and they've voluntarily pulled this cover at the artist's request.
Because the internet went nuts. What
Now-
do you think, Corbs?
Kind of creepy. Yes.
Now, I've read things
Kind of looks like
going as far as saying having the gun pointing down between her breasts is a phallic image and it's an
You can't see
allegory
it
for
from this
rape
picture, sorry.
and
Yeah.
things like that. I saw it and I thought, oh, that's such a powerful image. I thought it was great. I guess I'm really... I hate to be the one that people... You know when something bad happens and, you know, they have to and people say, try to make it seem like it's okay, but rationalize it, and they're just, you know, assholes on the internet. I don't want to come off like one of those. I understand that what happened to Barbara Gordon in The Killing Joke, people have said that maybe she was sexually assaulted by the Joker in that book. Maybe not. We don't know. I mean, Alan Moore said that that was not his intention, but it's not always the intention of the author. Sometimes you have to account for what people take from it.
Yes.
Again, I look at that image and I don't think that.
No, I think it's hearkening back to The Killing Joke. That's the sole purpose for it. That's all I get from it.
I don't even see that. You know what? Because what in The Killing Joke, I mean, he was dressed like a Hawaiian tourist. I mean, I don't see that. What I see there is a character who has come back from being assaulted by the Joker. Years later, is out of her wheelchair, is back being his Batgirl, and he comes out of nowhere and kidnaps her, whatever, and she's terrified because she's facing her biggest fear. I didn't think that it was The Killing Joke redone. I mean, obviously, her trauma references that, but I saw it as going forward and showing how terrified she was, but that's what she was going to have to overcome. I thought it was a powerful image. It was scary. I did not... I think it's a shame that it's not going to get published.
I agree.
I think that where it could have gone from there...
yeah.
I mean, people are allowed to have their opinions, but I'm only going as a Barbara Gordon fan, as a person who was pissed off that they took her out of the wheelchair when they rebooted everything, and they stopped her from being Oracle, which was kind of Batman's tech person who sat in her chair and ran everything, gave him all his intel. I mean, she was the most important person in the old DC universe, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even when people who weren't part of the Batman books needed something, she could be there to do it. She was the linchpin of all the heroes. I feel like taking her out of the chair has taken something away from the character. So, if I feel like that, you know, I really love the character. Always
Right.
have. That being said, this image doesn't offend me. I think it's powerful and gives her something to overcome. I have to think I'm one of the people... I think that I have the right mindset because I care about the character. Like Corbs could look at it and go, it's creepy, but I don't think it's, means he's trying to rape her or something. But he doesn't have history with the character. I have history with the character. I love the character, just like these people who are crying out saying that cover's horrible. And I don't feel that way.
I don't either. I do see the reference to Killing Joke in it, but you know what? That's still a part of her history. That happened to her.
Yes.
We shouldn't just have to pretend like it didn't happen, because DC has acknowledged by taking her out of the wheelchair that all of this still happened.
Just so you know the backstory on this Corbs, in The Killing Joke, the Joker shows up at Barbara Gordon's house, shoots her in the spine. Well, he shoots her in the front, but it goes through her spine, paralyzes her, and while she's down, takes off her clothes and takes photographs of her in various states of undress, posed photographs, and gives them to her father, I believe.
Posts them
Posts
while
them.
he's torturing her. Yeah.
Yeah. And some people said because...
Torturing him, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because he undressed her, they thought that, sexual assault was implied.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a difference. Sexual assault would be, I guess, taking her clothes off. There's like different degrees of that.
Right.
Regardless.
But rape was implied, they
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, the funny thing is, I never thought of that until years after I read it and I saw it online, somebody talking about it. It never occurred to me.
No, never thought of
I
it.
wouldn't have thought that of the Joker. That's not one of his motivations.
Right. Agreed.
But yeah, that's the history, and so a lot of people are upset with this cover because they believe it's, I don't know, demeaning, I guess.
I guess. A lot of people are saying that that's not the type of tone that the book takes now, so they shouldn't be going there.
I would agree with that, but doesn't that depend on where the story goes?
I would agree, but the people are saying that it's more of a like empowered book now and lighthearted.
It is. It is.
Okay. I've never read Batgirl, so I just say shame on you, DC, for buckling in, pulling the cover.
Here, here.
There.
So what else have we got?
We've actually gone through my entire list.
Got one last thing on mine, and that's my WTF file for the week.
Corbs, did you come with anything you wanted to talk about?
I thought we were going to talk about The Walking Dead.
Oh, it's a good thing you're here.
You fools. Fools, I tell you.
Then why don't you lead us off in that conversation, Corbs?
Walking Dead. Oh, you want more? Are we all caught up?
I'm all caught up.
And you're the one we have to worry about. Because you watch it every Sunday night like I do.
Yeah.
You watch it on like Thursdays.
Nope, Sunday nights. It has been. It's usually after the kids are all put to bed, and then
What was the problem with the Sons having to watch it like the next night? Bastard.
because it doesn't come on until 10, and Kristen goes to bed by 10:30.
So watch it without her.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So I don't know, where did we leave off last time we even talked about The Walking Dead?
I don't even think we've discussed this half of the season yet.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We haven't really touched
So
on it.
let's do a whole full season recap.
Gotta go back now.
Let's see.
So let's see, where did oh, the mid-season finale is with the one with Beth.
Yes, we did discuss that.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one was the next one did we talk about with Tyrese?
Yeah. Tyrese is also dead.
Thanks.
Yeah, I could have done without the 25 minutes of hallucination.
Yeah, with Beth and the girls and
Oh, but how
Bob.
cool was it to see the governor again?
Yeah, where's Jack? He'd be humming his chair. I forgot.
You know what? They had to give him a send-off. I admit it was a little weird, but it was as good as anything else they could have done. I mean, I felt the character was always really underutilized,
Definitely.
especially compared to what he was in the comics. And I mean, at least he got an episode to his own.
Yeah, true. So
His send-off episode.
Oh, but how badass was it when he stuck his arm in the walker's mouth?
That was cool. I
push
gotta
it
give
back.
that.
Yeah, to push him back because he had already been bitten, so he's thinking, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I already got bit once. What's the second
Yeah.
one gonna do to me?
You know, the thing that my wife was so pissed off because when he was walking down that hall, you could clearly see there was somebody in that room making noise. He saw that,
Yeah.
yet he still goes in there and, I'm going to stare at pictures and get weepy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, and apparently the walkers are really good with doorknobs now because
I
that
guess.
walker was in there for 2 years, hadn't opened the door.
Now
Right,
he just
yeah.
opened it. Yeah.
Yeah, really? I mean, that was you just kept walking into the door and then finally realized that there was somebody in the next room, and I can.
Yeah, and you know what surprised me the most out of that is Noah, who is so all upset about his family. When his little brother is on Tyrese, he doesn't even hesitate to kill the kid.
Right.
And I thought at least because Tyrese was already bitten, you would have seen some indecision in his face because that's just how the character is.
Yeah.
But he's just like, die, little brother.
Right. Yeah. Grab a plane out of the ceiling and jab it in my eye.
Yeah, I was that was a little weird.
Yeah.
He clearly didn't like that brother.
Yeah. Well, there's always a good twin and a bad twin, right?
Right.
Yeah, true. That was the bad twin.
Obviously.
So I mean, it was. And then you were talking about the whole thing when he was having all the flashbacks. I kind of thought it was. You could tell, like when the girls were pulling on his arm, you knew that it was Rick in real life. They were trying to,
Get him out of there.
cut his arm off to try to save him and all that stuff. And my whole thing was, I mean, with Herschel when he got bit, it was almost instantaneous. They pulled him in the room there and cut the lower half of his leg off. I mean, Tyrese had been sitting there for
Bleeding out.
yeah, God knows how long. He'd bitten twice in the same arm. Would that really have helped him?
I thought about that, and my wife kept saying during the episode, it's been too long.
Yeah.
Because we didn't expect Tyrese to die, so she thought maybe they were going to cut off his arm. Because, no one's lost their hand in the show.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the comics, Rick did lose a hand, so we thought maybe they'd do it to somebody else.
Right.
But I've been thinking about that ever since that episode a lot. When you get bit by one of those things, while you're still bleeding, it might not really be moving up because blood
Right.
is coming out.
Yeah, you're losing
Once
blood.
you clot, that infection that's there might start to move through the system. I don't know how this works.
Right.
But I thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe it makes sense because at first, even when Herschel got bit, I thought the second you get bit, that's in your bloodstream, and
You're fucked.
You're done.
Yeah, your stuff cycles every, minute or so, or twice a minute. But then I got thinking, but while you're bit or injured, you're bleeding out. Stuff
Right.
isn't
So
going-
blood's not circulating. It's leaving.
pushing out.
Right.
So maybe until it starts to clot, you might be able to save that. But I
Yeah.
think after that, no. I mean, I don't think it's going to move through the tissue. It's going to circulate through your body.
Right.
So but like I said, you could see when the girls were pulling on his arm, you knew that Rick and those guys were there, and they were trying to cut off his arm. I thought that was pretty cool that they showed that right at the end with Michonne hacking off his arm. I thought that was kind of cool. But once after that, you kind of had a feeling that he was going to die because, like you said, he was dead in the comic book already at this point. When they got to that point, he was already killed by the governor. So you kind of had I kind of feeling he was going to die. I didn't think he was going to die like that. I thought he was going to kind of go out, like he tried to go out in one of the episodes when he's kind of sitting in the car there.
Yep, and he went after him with a hammer.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was going to be the way he would go out, but I mean, I don't know. I think him dying has messed with Sasha.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Bob both being gone. She got nobody now. Then what happened after? Oh, then they were trying to get to DC. And they're walking down the street there with the walkers kind of following them, and they're, and people are always saying, well, why didn't they go back and just get rid of the walkers? They could have just gone back and, Michonne probably could have taken them all out herself.
Yeah.
But you can kind of understand what they were saying, why we're not going to do that because, we don't have the resources right now. We're low on supplies, no food they hadn't eaten in, I don't even know how long. 10 days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought you couldn't go much more than a couple of days or so without water. They were looking for water, couldn't find it. Then they found the water in the middle of the road and decided not to drink it. You can understand, but my whole thing of it is there's obviously there's other people out there that are still alive because you keep running into people. Just the people in Grady Memorial, Herschel on the farm. There's always other people around. And to find water in the middle of the road, I think you'd be a little skeptic at first, but my whole thing is are people really willing to poison other people at this point?
Well, everybody they've run into has been bad news for them. I think, in thinking it from a rational mind, what does anybody have to gain by killing those strangers in the middle of a road?
Right.
I guess it would be kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
But to them, always having to be on,
Right.
defensive, ready to attack at any second. I guess I can kind of see that.
Okay. I understand that, but when Aaron shows up and he says, "Well, I'm the one left the water for you," then you got to think that there are some good people still left around out there. The people at Alexandria obviously have no idea what's going on. It was evident by when they went on the supply run 2 weeks ago with
Aiden.
And
Nicholas.
Yeah. It's evident that they don't really have a good grasp on how to do these things and go on supply runs and protect themselves and stuff like that. Where Rick and these guys have been out in the thick of it for
Far too long.
Right.
Because it's showing up now.
Yeah. So. I can understand, the whole supply run and stuff like that with Aiden being, shoot at the walker in the camo with the shield and stuff like that. When the first few shots didn't do anything, at that point you got to think of something else. That's what I'm getting at. They don't know. Obviously Glenn saw the grenades on his
Vest.
that's the word. So he's trying to get him to stop, but I don't know. I just think that Rick and those guys they've got to put their foot down at Alexandria and say, if you guys want to survive, this is the way it's got to be because, people are gonna. It's now this world. People are gonna take what you have if they need it.
I agree with you. I just wish Rick hadn't put down his crazy foot.
Yeah.
Oh, he put the crazy foot down.
Oh, yeah.
I can understand and kicking the shit out of Pete. That's something. Even in that time and age, you don't hit anybody. you don't hit a woman, we're gonna go PSA again. I mean, I don't care. You know, I think I've told you this before. I don't care how bad anything gets. You never hit a woman. You know, so if that be the case, I can understand him kicking the shit out of Pete. But yeah, I think he went a little overboard with the rambling speech, and then Michonne just, you know, cold cocked him, which at first I didn't understand, but I kind of read about it a little bit, and in the comic book she did the same thing. But maybe you used to read the comic book, right?
I've read the first 6 issues. You read, don't you?
Yes.
So, I mean, is that something that I mean, obviously they got a good friendship, the two of them.
Yeah.
Does it hurt their friendship?
No, I don't think so.
Is it something that she did to protect him?
Well, it's to protect everybody because he was going too far. The interesting parallel between the comics and this is in the comics, Rick has never really come off this crazy. There was the time where he was talking to Lori on the phone. And instead of it being a phone at the prison, they were traveling. He kept the phone in his knapsack. He'd pull it out, take it out, and talk to her. He realized it was wrong. He eventually got his head together and he was all right. But the rest of the time he was okay. During that period in the show, he was still Crazy Pants Rick, whether he was talking to her on the phone or not. He just wasn't all there. Now here in Alexandria, now it's been a while since I read these issues, but I don't recall him coming off as... It's like I'm watching it and I was uncomfortable. I'm like, here we go. Rick's nuts. My wife said the same thing. He just seems like he's completely off his rocker. It doesn't seem like it was that in the comic books, just maybe he was being too forceful, because he bounced back from it really quickly in the comic books. Here, I don't want to say how, because it might spoil the next episode.
Right.
I don't really see how they're going to turn around and trust him now.
Right.
And are mild spoilers allowed?
Sure, because by the time this airs, the
Well,
season finale
I mean,
will be-
we do spoilers anyway, and I don't know that the show is going to go in this direction. What I will tell you is that 60, 70 issues later, they're still in Alexandria
Okay.
as one outpost of a number of them. So Rick's outburst doesn't damage his reputation to the point where he is not able to lead after that point. After seeing what we saw this past week, I don't see why anybody would trust him
right.
ever again.
Basically, with the way he acted, he's damn near guaranteed that he's getting tossed out the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is, I think, where we're going to get left after tomorrow night's episode. That's going to be the cliffhanger, is what happens to Rick, because I think they're going to toss him out, and you're going to see that a good portion of the group will not go with him.
Yeah, but no, Sam was watching, they have like the snippets of the next episode, and Maggie comes to, is it Deanna or whatever her name is?
Yeah.
And she kind of pleads with her to keep Rick there, and she basically says if he goes, you know, we're going to go with him, because they're a family. I mean, she said that when they first got there. I mean, they all stayed in the same house the first couple of nights, and she's like, well, that's good. That's what you guys know. You guys are a family. You've all come from different backgrounds to this point, and you've all survived to this point as a family. So yeah, we can understand why you're not separating yourself, because you don't want to be apart, because you've been together for so long, type of thing, you know. So I think some of them will end up staying. I mean, but I have a feeling that, you know, like you said, I mean, they're still there, you know, 6 months or whatever, how long the comic book and the movie.
Actually, I think at this point it's like
years.
Yeah, a couple years, like
Right.
3 years.
So, you know.
They did jump ahead in the comics.
Well, they jump ahead 2 years, and I'm trying to think. I mean, from where they are to where that jump started, it's probably a year.
So,
Wait. Was All Out War before the jump or after the jump?
Before. Because when they
Before.
came back from All Out War is when they did the jump.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean a year-ish. Something along those lines.
Let me ask you this question. Did they explain the whole W on the forehead?
I don't remember.
In the comic?
I know that I think Scott Gimple said they are going to explain that
Okay.
tomorrow night. I don't remember that from the comics, but again, where the show is a couple years ago,
Right.
book-wise.
I just wondered if maybe in the comic book they explained where that came from.
You know, I don't remember it, so
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it could have been that big of a deal if I don't even remember
Right.
it happening.
Right. Okay.
Well, they're focusing on an awful lot.
Right. You know.
Oh yeah, they're clearly
So it's they're making it noticeable on purpose. So there's something
Right,
coming.
because there was, obviously the girl tied to the tree, she had one on her forehead. Obviously that was done before she died.
Mhm.
Obviously I think all these have, that stuff, but it's, like you said, there was the one walker at the wall, had it on his forehead. There was the girl, then they had the whole truck full of them that when they first ended up Noah's community there. So, I mean, it's something that's going to be prevalent, but like you said, I'm hoping they expand it tomorrow night, because if I got to wait another 6 months, I might eat somebody.
Now, here's a little snippet of information that might make you proud. Did you know that Norman Reedus and the actress who plays Carol, what's her name?
Leslie McBride.
Yeah, Melissa
Melissa
McBride.
McBride.
They apparently both have put their houses up for their Atlanta houses up for
I
sale.
saw that.
Really?
Yeah. They're wondering, the whole rumor around is they're wondering if that means that he is no longer part of the show and if she's no longer part of the show.
Now, The Walking Dead spoilers has stated, they said absolutely not, Daryl will not die in the finale, and I guess they have a pretty close to 100% track record with this. So again, I read about this all in the same article. People have said, maybe he just wanted to buy a nicer house.
Right.
There could be lots of other reasons for it, but the timing is perfect.
Yeah. For it to come out there that he's put his house up for sale, it comes out yesterday or today or whatever. And all of a sudden, tomorrow's the season finale.
Now, what do you really think? Because you always see these things on Facebook. If Daryl dies, we riot. Do you think that fandom would actually be affected by Daryl dying?
No, I think you'll see a lot of internet bitching, but those ratings are going to stay exactly the same. Because that's what everyone likes to do. They bitch and complain, but you're still going to tune right back in.
Now, I will give you... I have a bit of a different view on that. I do think that there is I hate to say female, because there may be a couple guys in there too, but a good segment of the population that really does tune in for Daryl. I don't think that it's gonna hurt them as far as overall they're still gonna do fine. I actually think there's some people that are crazy about Daryl that would stop watching. I know some of them. And it really is their whole reason to watch is to watch Daryl Dixon. I don't know why this one character has gotten that kind of a cult following. But in my personal experience, I know people that I think would stop watching if he died. Which is weird.
It is.
Because normally when people say stuff like that, I don't buy it. I have the same opinion that you do. But I've seen people who, that's like, they want Daryl Dixon to have their babies.
Craziness.
Like he's a real person.
I've seen those. I've read those articles. And I like Norman Reedus as an actor. I mean, I've seen him in one of my two favorite movies is Boondock Saints.
Love that movie.
Boondock Saints, the second one. They're actually coming out with a third one.
Yeah, which makes me also wonder how he's going to fit it into his schedule.
They'll find a way.
They have to. They can't do the movie without him.
So I saw him in both. I saw him in Boondock Saints, and I was like, man, this is awesome. He was fantastic in that movie. So I'm a big fan of his, anyways. I mean, that's not the reason why I'm watching the show. And he'll tell you, I didn't watch the show to start. I didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it.
No.
Yeah, not a big fan of the whole zombie.
Zombies scare him.
They scare me too.
So, he said, but we first started talking about doing this, and he's like, well, I said, well, I gotta watch some of it just so we can have something to talk about besides, Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
So I started watching it, and you know what? It's a fantastic show. Like you, I don't miss it. There's sometimes I may not be right at the TV at 9 o'clock to watch it. Like I may turn it on at like 9:05, 9:10 because I'm trying to get my kid to sleep, and I may doze off with him or whatever. But I don't wait until like Tuesday afternoon to watch it or Tuesday night to watch it.
We don't start. Avery isn't in bed sometimes till the show is almost over. But we watch it as soon as she's in bed.
Yeah.
We watch that and The Talking Dead immediately right after. It's the night I'm up the latest every week.
Yeah.
Is Sunday.
Nice.
So
that's made me kind of wonder, since we're getting at the point now, if they start taking out characters, they're going to have to start taking out the main cast members. I had a conversation with my coworker about this earlier this week, and what if Andrew Lincoln decides, you know what, I've spent 6 years on this TV show, it's time for me to go make some movies. Even though he's stating even recently that he absolutely loves making the show, they've got so much more road to go. The story has already been written, it's there. I just worry that, even though it's 5 seasons in, it still feels new, at least to me.
right.
I mean, what are they going to do when they get to that point? Is the cast really going to stay on? I mean, is it going to be another Supernatural where the cast is willing to keep making the show as long as people want to watch?
Right. I hope so.
I mean,
I
because there's
can't
a
see
couple.
them recasting.
There's a couple people they just can't do without.
Right.
Yeah.
Rick
Yeah.
being one of them.
Yeah, Rick's one of them. Yeah.
I definitely think, we could get rid of Carl.
But
Just saying.
Carl's important to the future storylines.
I don't know that, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I can't see if Rick lost Carl, Rick would lose Rick. We'd
Yeah.
never get him back.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah.
I just don't like Carl.
You
Coral.
You have irrational hatred of Carl.
I do. And it's not, like we've said before, it's not the actor that plays him. I'm sure he's a fine young man. I just fucking hate Carl.
You have IHC. You're just mad because he's getting more than you are.
No.
No, I guarantee he's getting more than you are.
Well, the kid is, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, Chandler is.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
yeah,
I'm
he's-
at the character. Carl in this.
Well, yeah, Carl's
that girl this week.
He did. They didn't even kiss. Did
You
they?
don't know
Nah.
what they did in that tree trunk after the cameras
Yeah.
got away.
Not yet. They were talking about that on the Talking Dead After. Did you watch Talking Dead After?
No, I don't watch Talking Dead.
They were talking about how do adolescents, the two of them, how would they have like a romantic or whatever spin in that series, because you never know. The next day she could be dead. The
Right.
next day, you could be out and get swarmed by 20 zombies. And you're thinking about getting laid, and the zombies over there trying to bite off your leg. They kind of joked around about that on the Talking Dead afterwards, so I kind of thought that was kind of funny.
So the way to get around that is you don't think about getting laid. As soon as two people realize they like each other, they just do it.
Just do it and be done.
Yeah.
Do it. Just do it. And then obviously the whole Noah being killed.
Oh yeah, in brutal
Oh.
fashion.
Yeah. And Glenn having to watch it, which was
Yeah.
pretty.
Stephen Yeun did a great job in
Yes,
that
he did.
scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it all felt real. The screams and the tears. Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that was
powerful.
probably the most powerful thing
Yeah.
so far this season.
Yeah.
I almost think that might be the most powerful thing I've seen on the show. Period. Was his reaction to Noah being torn apart.
Yeah. Right in front of him, and nothing. He was literally like right there, and there's nothing you could do. You couldn't even.
It might even be the most brutal. As up until that point, I thought Dale getting exploratory surgery in his midsection was
Yeah.
one of the most brutal
Yeah.
things we'd seen. I think that tops it.
Yeah.
And they were talking that they toned it down. Because they were talking to Noah about it afterward. They were supposed to be. When Zombie was supposed to stick his finger in his eye socket
Yeah.
and pull his eye
Did
out.
you notice that the dummy of Noah that they brought out?
Yeah.
On screen, everything looked like Noah. On
The-
Talking
yeah.
Dead, looked nothing
Looked
like
like
him.
him.
But they were acting like it did.
Yeah.
Like it really looked like him, but it didn't look anything like him.
Yeah. So.
They look more like Michael Jackson. Yeah, Thriller video.
But yeah, that was. Lisa, that was pretty powerful to have to. For him to have to sit there, and then of course was it Nicholas was the
Yeah, that scumbag.
yeah. I got a feeling that douchebag is going to be.
I don't think he makes it out of the season finale alive.
I think he does.
I don't.
I think he does. I think at some point. He goes out on a run or something like that, and the same thing happens, and
He's
that
left behind.
yeah, he gets left behind at that point. Because at some point, somebody's gonna be like, you know what, fuck you, you bailed on everybody else, So I think at some point he's either gonna get cornered somewhere, or he's gonna end up like Aiden, stuck on a wall, and they're gonna he's gonna be able to be saved, and they're gonna be like, I don't know, fuck you, you left everybody else behind, so we're gonna leave you behind. And even Aiden getting killed, that was pretty intense too.
Yeah.
But nothing beat the Noah thing. I was like, holy crap. So I was just, and I was one of the ones I was like, not Noah, because, I liked Noah's character. I mean, he didn't really have a lot to do in the TV show at that point, but, he was always, willing to do what he had to do. So, which was kind of nice, but
And he was always leading people to their demise.
true,
It was fun. The Talking Dead, one of the first things they said when he came out, and I forget who said it, but they said, everybody eats Chris. I thought that was pretty funny.
Fantastic. So I think we've pretty well wrapped that up.
I think so too.
So, like I said, I do have a kind of a scaled back version of the WTF files. It's actually something of a trend I'm seeing at the workplace now, and it really skews me out. Just do it in storyteller fashion. Yeah, it's a booger. It's all good.
It's like a hair or some shit like that. What the fuck?
So I, on numerous occasions now, have walked into the men's room.
And found people having sex?
No, I would be less skeeved out by that.
Oh.
Picture this. You walk in to the men's room, and as those of the male persuasion know, we have urinals in the restrooms in most establishments. Which, for our female listeners, if they don't know, are stand-up toilets.
For peeing only.
Yes. And it's a disturbing trend now where you will go in and see guys doing their business with one hand on their junk and the other hand on their iPhone or Android device, still scrolling through their phone while they're taking a piss. What the fuck is up with that? That's just disgusting. And with me being an IT guy, it's our duty to fix the phones if something goes wrong.
Do you get to ask them that question?
What the fuck? No, I'm not
No,
allowed
if
to
they
say
peed on it.
that. No, I'm not.
Dropped it in the toilet?
We've been told that phones have been dropped in the toilet.
Oh, okay, that's nice,
Yeah.
because at my store, usually they put it in your hand, say it's not working, and then tell you they dropped it in the toilet.
Ooh.
Numerous times.
Yeah. So, it's not bad enough that they're just scrolling through their phones, and I know of at least a handful of people that are popping into my mind now that I'm obviously not going to blow up their spot. But these are also non-hand washers.
Ugh.
What the fuck is up with that?
I got nothing for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play on your phone, sit down to pee.
There you go. Enough said right there.
On that note, mega bite me bitches. This has been a Geek Pod Network production. If you're enjoying us, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and follow us everywhere. On Twitter at GeekPod, G33KPOD. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekpod. Want to get in touch with us? Email us at contribute@geekpod.com.